Retiring comfortably on $1,500 a month is often framed as a question of finding the cheapest place on earth. In reality, it is a question of stability, legality, and systems that reduce financial risk over time. This narration examines where that budget can realistically support a dignified retirement and why many widely shared lists overlook the factors that matter most. The focus is not on luxury or extremes, but on places where ordinary living remains predictable and sustainable. A monthly budget of $1,500 is not a benchmark for indulgence. It represents baseline dignity. It must reliably cover housing that is safe and stable, access to health care without financial shock, adequate food, basic utilities, and local mobility. The overlooked reality is that retirement affordability depends less on headline prices and more on how local systems function. Countries with regulated healthcare, controlled utilities, and clear residency rules often outperform places that appear cheaper on paper but expose retirees to hidden risks. Many destinations labeled as affordable fail retirees not because of rent, but because of visa insecurity, limited healthcare access, inflation exposure, or currency volatility. The figures discussed here are grounded in government statistics, national healthcare frameworks, and official residency programs rather than anecdotal accounts. One of the most ignored elements in retirement planning abroad is the legal right to stay. Tourist stays are not retirement solutions. They are temporary by definition and often prohibit access to public services. Many retirees underestimate the importance of minimum income thresholds set by immigration authorities. These thresholds determine not only whether residency is granted, but whether it can be renewed without interruption. A country can be inexpensive, but without a stable residency pathway, long-term planning becomes impossible. Healthcare access is the variable that determines whether a budget works or collapses. The difference between public and private healthcare access for foreign residents is decisive. In some countries, legal residents can enter national healthcare systems with regulated costs and income-based contributions. In others, foreigners remain confined to private insurance markets that become more expensive with age and may exclude pre-existing conditions. Where healthcare is systemic rather than market-driven, retirees face fewer financial surprises. Inflation and currency dynamics shape long-term affordability. Retirees relying on dollar-based income are better insulated in countries with stable currencies, regulated utilities, and subsidized healthcare. In such systems, essential costs rise slowly or are politically constrained. In contrast, countries with volatile currencies and deregulated essentials can erase affordability within a few years, even if initial costs appear low. Portugal illustrates how policy structure supports modest retirement budgets. Legal residents gain access to the National Health Service, which operates on a universal framework rather than private pricing. Outside major metropolitan areas, tenant protections and long-term rental norms provide stability that is often absent in tourist markets. What is frequently missed is the vast price difference between coastal cities and inland or central regions. Areas in the Centro region or the interior of Alentejo operate on entirely different cost structures. Residency under the D7 framework is tied to income thresholds aligned with the national minimum wage, which historically has remained below €1,000 per month and is adjusted through transparent policy rather than discretion. Residency and healthcare access are embedded in law, creating predictability for retirees. Mexico remains one of the most structurally affordable options for retirees on a fixed income. Permanent residency income thresholds are comparatively low for a country with a large, diversified economy. Healthcare operates on a mixed model, with private hospitals offering high-quality care at regulated and transparent prices. A common oversight is the assumption that private insurance is always required. Many retirees rely on direct payment models once settled, as hospitals often publish cash pricing that remains accessible. Interior cities, rather than tourist-heavy coastal zones, avoid the rent inflation tied to foreign demand. A significant structural advantage lies in domestic pharmaceutical manufacturing, which keeps medication costs consistently low and widely available. Malaysia offers an uncommon balance between cost, infrastructure, and administrative clarity. The healthcare system combines public oversight with private delivery, producing high standards at controlled prices. English is widely used in medical, legal, and administrative contexts, reducing friction for retirees. What is often overlooked is that the long-term residency framework operates differently across regions. Sabah and Sarawak maintain separate regional authority over immigration matters, and living costs in these areas are often lower in practice than in the peninsula. National subsidies for utilities and fuel further insulate residents from inflation, stabilizing monthly expenses in ways that pure market systems do not. Colombia demonstrates how mandatory national health care can transform retirement affordability. Legal residents are required to participate in the national health system, which includes foreigners on the same basis as citizens once residency is established. Contribution levels scale with declared income, keeping costs proportional rather than age-based. Pension visa income thresholds have historically remained below $1,000 per month, aligning well with modest retirement incomes. What many miss is the performance of mid-sized cities. Places such as Manizales, Armenia, and Pereira consistently offer better safety-to-cost ratios than major metropolitan centers. These cities combine reliable healthcare access with lower housing costs and less exposure to speculative rent inflation. Ecuador adds an additional layer of predictability through its monetary system. Foreign residents are permitted to opt into the national public healthcare system, which operates on contribution levels disconnected from age. The use of the United States dollar eliminates currency risk entirely, a rare feature among affordable retirement destinations. What is frequently overlooked is that retiree discounts are embedded in national law. Reduced rates for utilities, transportation, and certain healthcare services are not discretionary benefits, but statutory rights. This legal structure creates cost predictability that often surpasses countries with lower nominal prices, but higher volatility. Several countries appear workable at first glance, but often fail under closer examination. Thailand has long been associated with affordability, yet rising healthcare costs and increasingly restrictive retirement visa requirements have narrowed its viability for fixed-income retirees. Spain can support a modest retirement budget only outside major metropolitan areas, and private health insurance is often mandatory for residency, introducing age-related cost escalation. The Philippines offers pockets of affordability, but healthcare quality varies sharply by region, creating uneven risk exposure that complicates long-term planning. A sustainable retirement budget around $1,500 follows consistent patterns across successful destinations. Housing typically falls between $500 and $700 when retirees live outside speculative or tourist-driven markets. Food expenses often range from $250 to $350, reflecting local consumption rather than imported goods. Healthcare costs commonly land between $100 and $200 when public or regulated systems are accessible. Utilities and transportation together tend to remain within $150 to $200 in countries with oversight or subsidies. A modest buffer for miscellaneous expenses absorbs fluctuations without destabilizing the budget. What is rarely emphasized is that retirees with legal residency consistently spend less than long-term tourists because they exit short-term pricing structures and gain access to resident systems. Certain mistakes repeatedly undermine otherwise viable plans. Selecting countries based solely on rent ignores healthcare and legal exposure. Overlooking healthcare eligibility rules leads to late-stage insurance shocks. Underestimating visa renewals introduces residency instability. Settling exclusively in expatriate enclaves inflates daily costs without improving access to services. Failing to account for age-based insurance exclusions can turn affordable countries into financial liabilities. Verification before relocation relies on official sources rather than aggregated averages. Immigration ministries publish income thresholds and renewal conditions. National health authorities define eligibility for residence and contribution requirements. Statistical offices release regional cost of living data that reveal internal price differences. Utility regulators disclose pricing models that explain why some countries remain stable over decades while others fluctuate sharply. The central lesson is that $1,500 a month works only in environments where healthcare operates as a system rather than a commodity, where residency is legally stable and renewable, and where housing exists outside speculative zones. Retirement affordability is not created by low prices alone. It is produced by policy structures that control risk over time. Countries do not make retirement affordable. Policies do.